Hi, I'm Bill Lancaster, and I'm going to be your host for this video on turning a spiraling cut on the side of a cylinder. I really messed up on this video, so you see me out here on the front steps of my house trying to redo the video. I'm not even in my lathe clothes, but I'm going to try to do this in a way that you can see at least part of what I originally decided to try to do with the video, which was to make a decorative edge bowl. Now it's just going to be about spiraling because I messed up the decorative edge so badly. So when you look at this video, you're going to see me come on again in my my smock in the lathe booth, showing you how to do a decorative edge bowl. But just watch the first part of it, you'll see the spiraling part. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of the beautiful day we're having in South Carolina, because it truly is gorgeous. It's the video, it's the December the 2nd. So you'll see there the one of our overcupped oaks. This thing's about 24 or 5 years old, and there's a second one over here. It's got a bit of a spiral to it. Just gorgeous. A nice shape to them. We're fortunate to live on a nice street. So anyway, I'm going to show you these things. Let me show you first the things I messed up on. This is what I started out with. It's about 15 inches long, 5 inches wide. It's a cylinder, and I was going to make this into a nice oval shaped bowl. This X you see is just my center mark. So I got the spiraling done on it pretty well. If you want this spiraling to be deeper than this, you can just do it. This is the a nice deep piece of walnut. A friend of mine did this. He's an expert at using this particular tool. You just have to hold it on to the wood longer and press it in harder, and you'll get that. So what I ended up with is not exactly what I had in mind. My decorative edge bowl looks kind of like this. It's sort of a nice shoe insole, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted a bowl shaped thing. So this is not it. And so I'm going to shorten the video to the point where you can at least see how to do the spiraling tool. But as I start this thing back up again, this is the Sorby spiraling tool itself, and you'll see it's quite long. There's a wheel on the end of it that spins, and a holder that keeps it flat. I've got this thing tilted upward a bit from the flat spot, so it will do right. You press it into the wood, as you'll see, and move it along the wood to create the spiral. So that's what this whole video is about, really, is creating that spiral. Now, as I show you this video, you're going to see, as I said, myself in the smock in the lathe booth, turning a big piece of poplar round. It started out 5 by 5 by 15 square, and I'll be turning it round, and then you'll see me proceed to turn it around, put the spiraling cut on it, and then if you want to watch the rest of it, it's going to be kind of long. You can see me turning the decorative edge bowl that didn't turn out so well. So let's switch over now to the other video, which is what I intended to show you in the beginning. So you're going to have about less than a minute of video of me in my smock showing you the beginning of the decorative edge bowl. Don't be turned off by that. Just stay with it, and you'll very soon see the spiraling cut. Bye. You're going to see me again in just a minute. Hi, I'm Bill Lancaster, and I'm going to be your host for this video session on turning a decorative edge bowl. A decorative edge is done a lot like a natural edge, except that I'm going to put a decorative edge on it before I do the turning of the bowl. And to do that, I'm going to use this square piece of poplar. You see the grains going this way. It's a spindle type grain for me right now, and it's 5 inches wide, 5 inches square by 15. I cut it down to 5 inches this way because I wanted the width of the bowl to be 1/3 of the length in the end. Now to do this, I'm going to use some tools. I'm going to use this spindle roughing gouge, which you see here. You never use this on a bowl. I'm going to use this only on the side grain. And because this is a big piece, I'll probably use a regular bowl gouge on it also to get it round. This happens to be a David Ellsworth grind. And then to put the decorative edge on it, I'm going to use this Robert Sorby spiraling tool. So you see that thing. This is quite a rig. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And this is a different kind of video for me because I'm going to do it in parts and then post it in parts. It should come out being seamless for you, but it's not going to be seamless for me. I'm going to do some stuff to this blank off camera, so I won't take so much of your time. The first thing I'm going to do is just turn this square piece around, and then we're going to put a decorative edge on it, and then I'm going to take it to the bandsaw at the Woodworkers Guild and cut it in half, and then come back and finish turning it. So here's the beginning of it. I'm going to start it up on a slow speed. You see I've got the lathe turned down to 0. Get this thing going. And I want to turn it pretty fast. It's got those square sides on it, so I'm going to turn it at about more than 800. You know how to do this, I trust. We're just going to be turning this square piece around. So I'm going to show you the beginning of it, and then I'm going to turn the video off and do some things off camera. Let me get this thing mounted so you can see. And here we go. Put my face shield on. You can tell if it's round yet by doing that. If you get those thumps, you know it's far from round. This poplar is nice and wet. It's freshly cut, so I can go pretty fast with it. It's an easy cutting wood. Poplar by itself is easy cutting, and then with it being wet, it's even easier. I got an accidental stick there. You don't want to do that. I stuck the chisel into it and it slammed it down against the tool rest. Bad form, so don't do that. You can rotate this, spin the roughing gouge a little bit to get a sharp edge on it always. And you'll notice I'm using only a little tiny part of the cutting surface at each time. So it's really there's got a lot of blade there to be worked with. Now we still have some flat spots. You see that? That's almost gone. So one side of it right there has a flat spot. I'm going to work on that a little bit more. I feel just a little tiny bit of flat spot in it, so I'm going to take another little cut. Okay, let's see, got some right there, right across there. One more little cut, I think will do it. Put the spindle gouge up against it. Catch the bevel, and then I keep my hands still and the spindle gouge against my side and come across it by moving my body, not my hands. Now there we are. That's got that. So now I'm going to move the bowl gouge over, the tool rest over rather, and here's my wife. Hi. It's on the base of the tool, what do you call that thing? The
I see it now.
hand truck.
Oh, I'm too far. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, but he's here.
That's okay. Thank you. Painters come to work on the house. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Here we go. Some more. Make this thing round. This is fun. I didn't really mean to show you so much of this, and I might end up cutting it short when I do the editing. You can smell this nice wet wood, and I'm sticking the spindle gouge out pretty far over the tool rest. Got a hump in the middle. I'm going to take that out. Get speed. Okay, I'm going to take it fast and slow. Oops, it's when the lathe starts to vibrate, you know you've got an unbalanced piece. So then you've got to slow it down to make it stop vibrating. And I'm going to change the tool rest parallel to the cylinder. Now, this is the one chance that you have to sand. If you're going to sand, now's the time to do it, to get those little ridges out of it. I'm going to try turning it even faster and get it a little bit smoother surface on it. Let's try that. I'm now at 802. I'm going to turn it faster. It's shaking, so I've got to slow it down. 811. I'm going to take it slow at that speed and just go across here very, very slowly. I'm getting some fine dust. That's a good sign. See if I can just make this thing. And I'm watching my groove because I've lost sight of the tip of the gouge with it being covered up with sawdust. There we go. That's a lot smoother. All right, now that's pretty good. I'm going to do a little bit right in here. Try to blend those two surfaces together. There we are. That's pretty decent. So I'm going to just do this end over here. Okay, that's a little bit rough. Okay, now let's try the spiraling tool, and this is something I haven't used very much, so we're going to try to get it to work. I've seen it done, just haven't done it very much. This is not just perfectly straight. There's a little bit of a bend to it. I'm not going to worry about it too much. It's going to be like a natural edge in the end anyway, so it doesn't much matter. And then the other thing is, it's going to warp because it's wet. It's going to warp on us. So I'm going to get this thing flat. I want this flat part to be on the tool rest. Let's try this. Turn about 400, not too fast. As I've said, I've only seen this done. I haven't done it that much. I'm sticking the thing straight in, getting a spiral started. Then I'm moving it off to my right, and those little teeth in the spiraling tool will catch the grooves. I'm going to tip it downward. That's doing better. You can see the chips coming off of it, an indication that it's doing better. Let's look at it and see what I've got. Yeah, you see the spirals coming there? That's what I want, only deeper. And we're going to go the whole length of it. I'm going to get the thing started right in those grooves. I hope. If I don't have it in the grooves, I'm going to wish I did, and I'm going to have to come back and do something with that. I'm putting a lot of pressure on it sideways to get it to go. I'm tipping it downward, which is getting it to cut better. I'm keeping the tool against the wood so that it will keep the grooves. Let's see what we've done to it. I'm afraid we've messed it up. No, it's in pretty good shape. You know, actually, it's okay. Okay, that's good. All right, let's try a little bit more of it. Let's see what we got here. Okay, not bad. Now I'm going to take some sandpaper and just knock the fuzz off this thing. I just want to get that fuzz off so it doesn't need to be sanded smooth. It just needs to get the fuzz knocked off of it. So let me get some sandpaper. And I'm just going to take a, the coarse grit, but something smoother. Let's try a 220. I'll make it turn that way because I like for the sawdust to go away from me. That's got it pretty well. I'll try a little bit more on the edges here. That doesn't really matter because it's going to be turned off. Yeah, I've got a little fuzz down in those grooves. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, now that's the getting the spiraling done on it. Now, you see on the end of it here, it's got some heart grain there, which is dark, and you got the light grain. So when I split this thing, I'll use a log mill and the bandsaw, and I'm going to split it down this way to preserve this entire darker grain whole. So when I turn it, it will make that thing show up more. Okay, that's it for now. I will catch you after I've cut this on the bandsaw. Now what I've done here is created two halves of this spiraled log. I've dyed one of them with a trans-tint dye. This material, this is a Bordeaux trans-tint dye. I put it in denatured alcohol. So I got it too dark, obviously, but I'm going to see what it looks like underneath. Under the surface, it is going to be a little lighter as this stuff penetrates the wood. So what I'm going to do now is mount this on the lathe, put a tenon on this side, turn it around, and this will be the inside of the bowl, turn the bottom, and then with the tenon on it, and then we'll turn the inside. So that's the plan. I'm going to put this away while we mount the other one on the lathe. Now I've got, this die's coming off a little bit. I'm not patient, I didn't let it dry. I've got this center marked over here. There we are. Now, I've got a live center with no pin in it. And I'm going to try to put this thing and see if I can get it straight in the center. That's close to it. Now, the way you check this, I'll show you, is to put a tool rest on it and turn it around, see if you come out to the same spot each time. Let's put a tool rest on it. This is an Ellsworth method of doing this. So I'm going to put the tool rest right there. Now spin it around the other way. Oops, it's a little bit off. So I need to move it that way. Back it off. It's like this. Without the center, you can move these things a very small increment. That's what I want to do. Let's try it again. That's about a 1/16 of an inch off. So I'm going to try to move it again. Let's see, I want this to go that way. Let's try this again. That's about a 1/16 inch from there. Let's try this again. Oh, that's about as close as I'm going to get it, I'm afraid. So let's try it right there. I see I've missed a couple spots with the die. And I may have to do some touching up on those. See, that's right there? That's where I've missed it with the die. I need to adjust this camera so you can see better what I'm doing. Okay, let's try that. Okay, let's see that. I got that pretty good. Now I need to turn a tenon, and this will be the top of my eventual bowl. I need a tenon right there. I'll make sure that's good and tight, because I do not want this coming off the lathe in any way, shape, or form. So I'm getting that good and tight. All right, now I'm going to put a tenon there. This is eventually going to be all dug out, so it won't matter. What I've done in essence here is I've created a kind of bark on the outside of this log, but it's my own design and my own color. So it's a little different from just a natural edge bowl, because I've got my own design on it. All right, let's try the get the face shield on, and get the lathe going. Blow the sawdust out of the face shield. Now, let's get this thing going at slow pace. Turn the lathe down to 0, turn it on. Let's get it go. Oops, the wrong way. And let's get it going here. There we go. Trying to get down, get a speed up to maybe 800 or so. Let's see what we can do. Make sure this is good and tight. I don't want it flying off on me. Okay, here we go. You'll see when you're turning things of this nature, you get wood, air, wood, air, wood, air. So it's a bouncy sort of thing. The faster you go, the better cut you get, but it's also a little bit more dangerous. So I'm getting up to 500. Check to make sure everything's good and tight. It is. And a little faster, please. There's about 600. I can hear it turning like a propeller on me. And this 700. I feel a little vibration in the lathe. Now, let's turn it some here. Let me give myself a bowl gouge. This one is a David Ellsworth gouge. I'm going to go in there like this. Try to go slow. I want about a 2-inch tenon. So let's see what I'm doing here. You see, that's going to look pretty good. The contrast between the dark burgundy and the light wood is going to turn out to be pretty darn nice. Okay, now I'm going to get a different gouge. I want a 40-40. So this is one of my favorite little gouges. It's a little 40-40 bowl gouge. Now, let me get myself adjusted here while the lathe is stopped. Put this right in there and make sure it's spinning true, not hitting anything. Now what I want is a tenon there, about a 2-inch tenon. So let's get ourselves a mark. Just approximate's fine. So it's going to be a little bit deeper than that. Okay, let's try it again. Keep my arm out of it. That's looking pretty good. Going that way. Now I need to have a good flat spot there. Well, that was not a good sound. Let's see what we did to it. We knocked the thing side gosling by getting a catch right there. So let's put it straight again. Okay, let's try to get this thing backed up a little bit. I can get it on better. The center. Okay. Now let's try this again. Trying to line it up with that. Look at that spot right there. Trying to get it. Oops, not good. Not good. That's close. I'm going to just test it very closely here. That's about 32nd of an inch. There's actually touches. That's close. All right, I'm going to live with that. Now I'm going to turn this thing tight. And see if I can dress up this tenon. I'm going to dress it up with a skew. And first I'm going to get the surface off of it. Try to get it good and tight. Everything tight. tight. Okay. And I'm going to come in here, just try to take out that wood. Now I'm going to dress up the tenon with this skew. I want that tenon to go in there with a little dovetail on it, and then flatten the bottom surface where the jaws of the chuck will touch. I think I'm there. Let's just see what I've got. Got a little fuzz here. Not too bad. Let's do some more. Try to dress up that tenon to a little better shape. Okay, that's better. That's about a little over 1/4 of an inch, maybe, not much over. A little bit deeper would be better. And because this wood is wet, I'm going to put some CA glue on there to just strengthen the tenon. I'm going to take a little more of the tenon out. I think this will be all right. Let's try it and see if it's going to be okay. I want it to, it's got to fit in that chuck. Without touching the outer surface. Now let's see what we got here. Okay, what do you think, Bill? I think it's firm enough. I'm going to take a chance on it and put it in the chuck. Okay, get the chuck here. And let's see how it's going to do. This is a Vic Mark 100 chuck, in case you're wondering. I think it might do. It doesn't seem to be touching anywhere. Now I'm going to just center it by putting my thumb on that side and closing it up. And you have to remember you want to tighten all 4 of these screws. There are only 2, but you do them twice. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now let's see what we got here. Okay, it's pretty good. Let's test it and see. Let that corner touch right there. See what we got on the other side. Okay. It's not going to be quite true. And because I've cut a tenon in it, if the jaws are all touching the wood, that's just the way it's going to be. And the jaws are all touching. So I think that's we're going to live with that. Now, what I want to do is cut this, nibble off the corners and cut this into a bowl shape. This will be the bottom of it. Put a tenon here. Okay, I'm going to start slow again. Yeah, pretty good. Now I'm going to get my little, not good. Let's see if I can get you pointed right. Why did this thing behave? Okay, let's try that. Now, when you're doing this, remember you got wood, air, wood, air, wood, air. So I'm going to just nibble the corner of this thing, but I got to get going faster. So I'm going to get it going, as fast as I can stand it. That's about 450. That's getting a little propeller sound. That's 825. Now, if you do a pull cut, you can shape the thing better. If you do a bevel cut, you get a smoother surface. So I'm going to do a pull cut to begin with, and take off some material, and then we're going to come back and do a bevel cut. I can see the shadow of that corner. So you may not be able to see it on the camera, but I can see it. And I'm just taking the wood off. I've got it, the gouge open about 10 o'clock. Good. A little bit faster. You see this wood in here? How solid that is? That's okay. That's not going to give me any chatter. Okay, that's coming along. It's a little bit painful on my wrist, so I'm gonna get a glove. If you use a glove, cut the fingers of it out like this. You don't want anything getting caught in the wood and drawing your hand into it. So get the dead gum fingers out of the way. You don't want anything catching on it. So I'm going to do a little more cutting on this corner. This is a little 40-40 gouge. I like the 40-40s on the outside of a bowl and the Ellsworth on the inside. This is a 40-40. This wood is really good for this project because it's easy to cut. Let's have a look at it and see what we got here. Okay, let's put it along, and I want to put my tenon on the bottom, and then we're going to be able to cut it a little bit more. Let me get my ruler. I moved it. I want a 2-inch tenon here, so let's just make it 1-inch radius. There we go. Okay. Okay, now let's try a little more carving on it like this. That wood is so wet I can feel the moisture coming off of it and hitting my forearm. I can see the profile of the bowl as I look at it this way, and that's the good thing about the pull cut. You can see it a lot better. Yeah, I'm going to do a nice bevel cut and try to get this thing a little smoother. It's a little awkward with this thing in the way. Let me move it. Sorry. That'll get it out of the way. Okay, now let's try this. I need to do a little number. Have to move you again. Sorry. But try to do a decent job with this thing. Okay, now let's try this. We've got to get in here like this. Okay, I'm going to try it with the camera going. Okay, I need to take a little more. I can see in the profile that this is giving me the wrong shape. A little more. I can see the shadow of the bowl. Okay, let's have a look at it. Well, that didn't get a very smooth cut, and the reason is, I've got the camera in the way. So, but I got this down to the colored part. That's what I want, like that on both ends. Very good. Now, I need to make that tenon better, and I need to move the camera so I can get a better cut on this bottom. Now I'm going to move you, so I'm sorry, but give me a second to get the camera repositioned. Here we go. I think that's going to be better. Let's try it. Didn't take too long. Okay, now what I need to do is make a nice, smooth bevel cut along here. Okay, here we try. I'm not quite happy with that shape. I can see the shadow of it. Take this little part off. And another one. Try to get that thing. Well, I'm not getting it good. That's what I've got here. Yeah, not too bad. Not too good. Yeah, I need to do this little turn better. So let's get it done better. I'm going to switch to a curved tool rest that might help me just a little bit. So let's try this. This is a one-way curved tool rest. Okay, let's try that. As I said before, you can shape a bowl better with a pull cut, but you're going to get a nice smooth surface. You use the bevel cut, and that bevel cut is good and smooth, and it's left you a pretty good smooth surface. I've got a couple of little spots that I'm going to have to deal with. Now, okay, let's do this tenon better, because I want that tenon to be really, really good and secure. So I'm going to take the little skew again and go right in there flat and try to put a dovetail on it. And flatten the bottom. Pretty good. Let's see what I've got here. It'll do. This not the most wonderful one I've ever done, but this wood is wet and that's the way it's going to be. Okay, let's try now. And move this out of the way. And loosen the, I'm going to mark before I do that. Mark the number 1 jaw. I like to do this in case I have to put it back on the lathe. I can put it right back where it was. There's the number 1 jaw. That will go away, you know, as I turn the inside, that mark will go away. Now, turn it around, and I'm going to just put the number 1 jaw kind of at the top. The Vic mark has numbered jaws. Some others do not, like the One Way. They do not have those, but the Vic mark does. So you just have to pay attention, especially when you're changing jaws. You've got to get those numbered jaws in the right spots. Now it's not bottoming out. Good. Turn it tight. Tighten all 4 of these. Sound effects always help. 2, 3, 4. Now, let's get back to our. I'm going to use a robust tool rest. This is a wonderful thing, the J-shaped tool rest. If you need to get inside a bowl, this is the way to do it. And this, the robust has a hardened steel rod along the top surface there on the right there, so it's not going to get any dents in it or things that will foul it up and slow down your movement. Okay, now we're getting good. Now what I have to do here, I use the Ellsworth Bowl Gouge. I'm going to come in right here and go down. And I can do without this center part, but I'm going to leave it there. You need some wood in the middle to support the cut on the end. Otherwise, that cut on the end will vibrate. First thing you know, you're going to have chatter marks. So let's see if we can do this. All right. Just take a few turns right here in the middle. Now, let me move this thing out of the way. Now I'm going to come in, I can see this end here. I'm going to come in on it and begin to whittle away. Let me just see what I'm doing here. Now, I'll make myself a little mark, indicator with a bit of masking tape so I know where, so when I can't see it, I'll know where that end is. I'm going to go a little bit inside there, and so where the edge of that tape is where I want to go in. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to go a little deeper on it. First I'm going to take out some of this wood and then go a little deeper on that. It's making a strange sound, isn't it? I know what that sound is. You know, it's the spirals that I've cut in it, plus the air, wood part of it. And now I'm ready to take off more down here. Now, let's see, okay. This is not exactly what I wanted, but I didn't know in the beginning how it was going to turn out. I would like to have had it a little more of a bowl shape. I might can still make a bowl shape out of it. Right now, it's kind of the shape of the insole in a shoe, and let's try to do something more with it. Now, I'm going to give myself an indicator mark on the inside of the bowl as to how deep to go. And I need to have a spindle gouge for this. I'm just going to create a little dip right there so I can run a drill into. This is a spindle gouge. It's kind of a blunt spindle gouge that I've made for certain cuts, and that's going to be all right. Okay. Now I need a drill. And I want to go in, you see, I'm going to go in from this surface down to about there. I've got this mark on here so I can see how far I'm going. Okay. Oops. Need to go slow. This should go about 400 RPM, not 800. Take it out and clear it once in a while. You don't want to get those things, a drill stuck in there, for sure. That's it. Now it's my indicator of how deep to go. So let's see if I'm ready to start down there. I think I can work on this spot right here some. I'm going to move the tool rest over some because I want to start taking out that center. Okay. The center goes slower than the edges because of just the physics of it. I'm putting this gouge in there in a closed position, and I'm opening it up as I go. You can actually get the dadgum thing wide open, especially with wet wood like this, wet soft wood. Like this, I'm getting it pretty close to wide open, always using the left corner of the tip, not the long ground down side. Now I'm getting in there pretty deep. You notice I'm being very careful to keep my arm away from this flying corner out here. With the Ellsworth, you can go right to the center without him using a bottom feeder. It's a remarkable tool and technique. And I'm not sure I'm doing it right. David Ellsworth is the real inventor and teacher of this, and I've never had a class with him. Now, I see the bottom of my hole, so I'm going to slow down and just take a few cuts to kind of smooth it out. Going down there. I'm going to look at what I've got. Stop. Let's see what I've got. Okay, well, got to come back here and go there. Okay, I've got a tenon. Okay. When you move your feet with these cuts, you make a little ridge. So I've got a little ridge right here and one right there. Well, this is really not turning out the way I thought it would. It's looking interesting, but it's not what I thought it would be. I thought it was going to have a kind of a bowl shape, and it doesn't. So I've screwed up somewhere along the way in the design process. I'm going to take one more cut down through here. See what I've got to do here. I'll go from right there on down. Well, folks, that's about it. I do think that this can be done better, and I think you can do it better. That is not what I envisioned, and I don't know where I went wrong in the design process, but it's the shape I intended, except for the fact that it has no bowl in it. So it's kind of screwy. And I've got these ridges, and it's not blood, that's dye. Got these ridges in it. So I'm going to clean that up with a negative rake scraper and just kind of smooth it out. Now, a negative rake is a wonderful tool. If you don't have one, you should get one. This is a negative rake scraper. It's very forgiving. See, it has a 20-degree grind on the bottom and 70 on the tip. And you can stick it right in there and smooth things up with it. You want to have a burr in it. And I'm afraid my burr is kind of worn out. I've used it a couple of times. And that chattering is when I get out here to the wings. Let's see what I'm doing to it. I do not want to have chatter marks. Well, it's not too bad. It's better than it was, but from that point right there on, I'm going to need to let this dry and then come back and sand it. I really am not happy with the design, so it's really, gotta go back to the drawing board on this thing, because this is not what I wanted. And so I'm not sure where I went wrong. So anyway, that's about the way it is for now, folks. I'm going to turn it off and try to figure out what I did wrong. Maybe you know. You can always tell me on the comments.